Carol, can you tell me what you enjoy the most about being a finance coach and what actually motivates you in your work?
Well, the reason I did it is because I wanted to use my qualifications and my experience and feel like I'm actually helping people or doing something purposeful. So doing that is what I love the most. The fact that I can use all of that 20 plus years of accounting and corporate and life experience to help people and make a difference in their lives. And and I see that when, especially with the feedback I get, is what, of course, everybody enjoys positive feedback
Yeah.
in the difference that it has made to their every aspect of their life. I'm never about, let's be super rich. If that's your
Mhm.
ambition, great. But that's not, a lot of money coaches are like wealth, wealth, wealth. But for me, it's actually just making people's lives better, reducing their stress, helping them manage their money more so that they can enjoy life more. And that's what I love. And then the people that I meet, like I've often commented on the people that I've met since I left corporate. Not that I didn't meet amazing people in that role, but I was sitting in an office and I was really only exposed to the people I worked with, where this is much broader. And the life experience I've had even since has been really fulfilling. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
that's very inspiring. You know, there are so many disbeliefs and misconceptions when it comes to money, like money can buy you happiness, things like that. Anything that you hear a lot at your work that you would like to share, but also how do you help clients,
yeah.
overcome these disbeliefs?
Probably the most common thing I hear, and it is the main reason why I'm so passionate about supporting women in this space, is I'm useless with money. I'm just stupid when it
Hmm.
comes to money, and therefore I don't engage. So, if we tell ourselves we're terrible at something, not for us, then of course
Mhm.
we don't engage with it and we don't lean into it. And we've been preconditioned that way a lot through generation when it's simply not true. In actual fact, women are proven time and time again to be better. So I love seeing the development of going from, I can't do this, I am useless and I'm never going to learn it, to actually, not only can I do it, but I'm very good at it. That's really, really powerful. And that's one that I will never not get, enjoyment from seeing people go through that progression. That concept of money can't buy you happiness, or money is bad, or you must be greedy if you think about money too much. There's bigger problems in the world than worrying about
Mhm.
money. And to that effect, then a lot of women will say, I just want enough. I'm not greedy. I just want enough. And it's another one where we hold ourselves back, because my view is money is neither good nor bad. It's just an
Mhm.
energy, like food. It's something that we need to survive and to function in the society that we live in. The better food we have, the healthier we are. The more money we have and the relationship that we have with money, the more choices and freedom that we have in the world. And that it's breaking that down as well. And that concept of, it's bad to think about money or to talk about money or to focus on money is really
Mhm.
limiting, holding us back in life, when money can't buy you happiness. But the more money you have, and if you use it in line with your values to do things that make you happy, which often need money, then it contributes
Yeah.
to it. If I love to travel, I need money to travel. It makes me like joyful to visit new countries and learn about new cultures. Then if I don't
Yeah.
have money and
Same.
I can't do that, then money is not making me happy, but it's facilitating it.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. So there is definitely the relationship between mindset and financial success. How do you help your clients to change the mindset to, you know, get more confident about money?
Mm. It's first of all awareness. So much of it is
Mhm.
subconscious, so deeply conditioned within us. We're not even aware we're acting in that way. We don't realize why we're making decisions and how our money mindset or our feelings about money is impacting that. So that's the first thing we do. I largely do that when I'm working with clients one on one through listening to their language and seeing how they're
Mhm.
reacting. So my approach is a very strong combination of practical and basically energetic and mindful as well. So for example, if we're looking through their finances and we're analyzing is not the right word. We're just looking over how they're spending their money. I can see how they're reacting. whether they're
Mhm.
excited by, see that I went on holiday and I loved it and they're lighting up. Or, oh my God, I spent so much money on that, and you can see them deflate. So that's where looking at, right, well, where are you happy and where are you not? Where's money adding to your life and where are you not using it in areas that are adding to your life? And then bringing awareness to that. Their language, how they talk about money, how they talk about themselves and money. And then just really going into that. And it can be many things. It's very personal. So looking at the limiting beliefs that we've been conditioned with or bought into, looking at our past experiences with money, money and losing jobs, seeing families lose money, not having money. And in some cases, even coming from a wealthy family is difficult because the pressure to sustain that, to live up to that, to buy into that. When if you feel I'm stupid with money, but I've come from this, it can be very conflicting. So it's then looking into and releasing any limiting beliefs around that. And through many things, exercises, meditation, but also very practical, stepping into it and go, right, well, we need to be brave and go into areas that we have done before. Yeah. And then it is so freeing when people work on their money mindset, because every decision we make on a daily basis has a financial impact, everything. And
Yeah.
most of the time we realize. So that's why I'm so passionate about both. It's not just financial literacy. It's not just mindset. Actually, they're two pillars that hold up, they both need to be balancing.
And aligned.
Yeah, for it to work.
That's very interesting that you mentioned that no matter how much money you have, you might still be under the pressure, even
Mm,
if you're coming like from the rich family, or you're probably a successful person already, but you still might have these blocks. What advice would you give to people who are facing the blocks related to money? I know you have mentioned some practical advice like to get more awareness, but also, some steps like meditation or probably visualization as well. But anything that you think anybody could do daily just to
yeah.
help release these blocks?
Because it's interesting you say they exist regardless of your financial situation. People assume that, oh, they're wealthy, they have no worries. And I've heard that said before. Someone said to me in the past, so they are so rich, what would they have to worry about? Like,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and and there is that assumption. And what that does is then if you are in that position and you are wealthy, then it's almost like you're not allowed to have money worries. You're not allowed to worry about it all going away or making the responsible decisions. It's the same pressure. Am I
Yeah.
making the right decision? It could go away at any point in time. But what people can do is, like I said, just understand yourself when it comes to this. Look into your history as to why you're behaving the way you do. But one simple thing, if you've never done this before, that I recommend people do is let's take a week. And every time you think about money, receive money, pay for something, look at your bank statement, any interaction with money for a week, just observe how you feel at that moment. When a bill comes into your email, you have to pay your electricity bill. Do you go, even if you don't even know what it is and the money's not there or the money is there, it doesn't matter. Do you go,
Yeah.
oh, or are you resentful? Another bill I have to pay out. When you receive your salary, are you like, oh, that's not enough? Are you quite negative about it? Or are you grateful of like, wow, I'm really happy with this. I'm grateful to have this money come in so that I can pay my electricity bill in that example, even if it's not what you would like it to be, but we still have to
Mhm.
maintain gratitude for what we have before we can do more. Observing your energy in how your thought process, your action, and where you feel it in your body when you're having financial thoughts or financial transactions for a week will bring huge awareness. And a lot of people will say like immediate shifts to go, oh my goodness, look how I've been behaving. I'm not going to do that anymore. For the kind of low hanging fruit, if it's something deeper, then you need to go deeper into it. The other thing I would say is that's from a mindset of feelings around money. If you don't look at your finances, you need to look at them. Burying your head in
Mhm.
the sand does not make the problem go away. And generally it actually makes it worse. Or you're losing opportunity. To give the example of people who have money, many of my clients will come to me and say, I'm very, very lucky and I'm very, very grateful. And I'm actually good with money in the sense that I save. That can be considered, once you save money, you're good with money. That's enough. But like, but I'm now aware, and I'm getting older, that my money is sitting in the bank account, not earning any interest, doing nothing. And I know it's losing value due to inflation, but I
Yeah.
keep kicking that can down the road to make a decision. How do I invest? What do I do with it? And now it can be a pressure point of, well, I'm approaching a point where maybe I can't work anymore, or I don't want to work anymore. What am I going to do? I need to actually deal with this. And while it's
Mhm.
great, yes, but you've lost a lot of value there in the years that it's sitting there doing nothing. So I would say, if you're that person, and that could be if you have money that's sitting there not working, or you have debt on the other side of that spectrum, and you're
Mhm.
just, deal with it, I'll deal with it, I'll deal with it. Be brave, rip off that band-aid, look at your finances and take action. And it's so empowering to do that. And it shifts your mindset as well. It helps. It's why it's two things. You need to know about the mindset, but also take action. And the
Yeah.
action is generally, I'm going to look at my debt, I'm going to make a plan. But with that sense of, what often holds us back, there's so much shame around money. That would be another thing I would look at. If you're feeling shameful that you're not in a situation that you would like to be in, that you have debt, and you're embarrassed by this, or someone has embarrassed you by saying, how
Mhm.
could you be so embarrassed? That's not helpful. Or on the other side, I've had people coming and go, I'm actually embarrassed because I'm doing really well, and the people around me are not. And I have no one to talk to because I'm embarrassed that I'm doing well and they're struggling. And I don't want to be, putting it in their faces. I'm uncomfortable with this. And therefore we do nothing and feel very isolated in
Mm.
that situation. So I would say, looking at it through that lens of like dropping the shame, dropping the
Yeah.
judgment, and you are where you are, and we can't move forward if we're sitting in shame and embarrassment. We need to just say, okay, this is how things are, and I'm going to move forward from here to the best of my ability. So that would be looking at, for a week, observing yourself, facing up to the reality of your situation, and then actually taking steps to make even a small change on a daily basis to help
I
whatever
love
it
it.
is you're doing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. I think these are just, might seem small at the very beginning, but when you start slowly, you will see the big difference. And I really love that you mentioned that money loves clarity. I've heard that a lot of times, that you need to know where your money is coming from, where they're going to, and you need to have this clear picture. What advice would you give to people who are afraid of seeing the reality? This is what I see a lot with my friends, with another business owners, especially with the business owners, I guess. Not of them having this, not of them have this courage to look into their financials themselves. They prefer to delegate it to other people. Well, there are, of course, pros and cons to this situation. But I think as a business owner, or, as a head of the family, you really need to take steps to make sure you have this understanding and to have a clear picture of your financial situation.
Money loves clarity. Like I say it constantly. The more clear we are, the more money we have, the more freedom we have, the more choices we have, and the more money flows in our lives. If we talk about like abundance and manifestation, it does flow to us easier when we're clear on everything I just described, how you are with
Yeah.
money, your financial situation, and your goals, your future. I would say, if you are someone who's in that, oh, I don't want to look at it. I've had multiple clients where, to the extreme of, even when I go to the bank, I will block the screen at the ATM because I don't want to see what's in there. I will go through the function of putting in the pin, taking out the money. I don't want to see. And never looking at the cards. Into business owners, never looking at their finances or offloading that to someone else, outsourcing it. I have an accountant, he deals with it. I assume he'll tell me if there's a problem. All of that, in my view, is giving your power away. There's
Yeah.
so much power in money to live your life, but also in those numbers. Like, if we talk about a business owner who understands their financials makes much more powerful and better decisions, knows how to charge, feels secure in what they're charging, knows how to give discounts when it's appropriate, you're much better, more driven as well when you understand the numbers and the consequences of your decisions, be they good or tougher ones. And the same applies to your personal life. What I would say is if you're afraid, every single person I've done this with at the end who's looked at it, and we looked at exactly like a detail of this is what you're earning, this is where you're spending it by category. Every person, regardless of what came out of that, thankfully very few are in a worse situation than they expected. By far, the vast majority are in a better situation than they expected. And even the ones who were like, oh, it's actually worse, they'll say, I'm glad I did it. I wish I did it sooner because now I'm already feeling back in control and I can make a plan. And it's energizing and it's motivating because I often say when you're blocking something, you're ignoring something, it's not going away. It's still there. It's still niggling at you. Yeah. So you're stressed anyway. So why not take charge of it? And in a way that for something that's so beneficial, we often see money and managing it and looking at it as a chore, boring, painful, it's time consuming. And while it might be, certain elements will be, especially if you don't like spreadsheets and you don't like numbers, finding a way that works for you. But it's like I often say, it's like going to the gym, right? I don't think I've ever met anyone who loves to run on the treadmill, just loves running on the treadmill. It brings them great joy. I don't think I've met anyone who does. But when they did, why do they do it? Because the outcome, they know the benefits good. They know how good it is for their body, for their mindset, for their health. Therefore, we do it for the benefit. And this is the same thing. And once you do it and you get that adrenaline of like, oh, this actually the outcome feels good. Process might be a bit not my cup of tea, but the outcome feels good. Then we do more of it.
Yeah, sure. Totally agree with you. I also love one thing that you mentioned about money sitting in the account and not working. And one of the blocks and disbeliefs that I hear from my female entrepreneurs is that, oh, I'm not too smart to invest, or, investing is for the rich. I don't have enough knowledge about investing. So things like that regularly just, pop up at the back of the mind. I'm sure you dealt with these situations as well.
That again, it's back to the same kind of I said at the beginning of like, I'm stupid, I'm not good with money. That's for other people. I had a lady a few years ago who worked with me who, when we worked through the process of getting her some savings in place, and then she started investing, and it was so emotional for her. She cried to your point of, to like, this is for those people. Wow. I can't believe I am someone, I am an investor. Because for her, that was for people better than her, more intelligent than her, more successful than her. And it broke my heart, but made me so happy in the same place, that she was so lying, underestimating herself and keeping herself small.
Yeah.
And then the excitement of, actually, I can do this and I understand it and I'm happy with it. It's so empowering. Every piece of research I look at, which analyzes men versus women when it comes to investing, women come out on top. We're better at it. The research shows we're better at it. But we're led to believe we're not. And that's a whole conversation of men and money and women and money and why that happens and why we believe this. But it isn't a reality. There's also a lot of cultural. Yeah, I know I grew up in Ireland.
I was about to say as well, yeah.
A lot of it can be cultural. Like I'm Irish. I grew up in Ireland. We love property because we're surrounded constantly by property. Property is important. Buy a few houses, get some income from the rentals. That's the way to do it. Of course, we're more comfortable with doing that, and we're more likely to buy property as our investment. Most of my Irish clients will be like, oh, but investing in the stock market, that's for them. That's too risky. That's all of these negative things that we've kind of heard. And this is even despite the 2008 situation in Ireland, which was property based rather than stock market based for the vast majority of people who suffered through that. So it can be cultural. So then we as women have both sides then. As women globally, we're told, you're not good at it, don't do it. Let him take care of it, or find a man to help you. And then if you're also from a culture, and it's not just Irish, there's many I could name countries that have that same kind of attachment to property and for generations, then we're not going to go into the stock market. And also for women, another reason why we are reluctant to step into that is for us, money is safety.
Mhm.
Money is our net. And a lot of the women I work with, I've read the books. I know I need to invest. I know all of the logic around it, but I'm terrified of making the wrong decision and my money goes
Mm.
away. And that's not about, I want to protect my money. I want to have lots of money. That's my safety. I don't have money. I don't have choice. I can't get away. I can't be autonomous in my life.
Mhm.
Men tend to not feel that way. For them, it's power, it's wealth, it's their almost part of their identity. Like, I must put money to work in order to. Of course, that's a generalization, but the research is behind it as well. Whereas for
Mhm.
us, we're reluctant to take risks because, oh, our goal generally is not to be super wealthy, it's to be safe. And
Yeah,
money
that's
provides that.
totally. Yeah, it absolutely resonates with me. Even as a business owner, like I regularly keep this idea at the back of my mind that I need to have this safety fund. But how do we actually move from this state of the need of
Yeah.
feeling safe to be able to invest, without having these regrets, without having all these thoughts at the back of the mind, because I'm sure they're not helpful as well if you are afraid
Yeah.
all the time of making the first step.
Yeah. So two things there. I'm glad you brought up the safety fund, or emergency fund is often referred to. For me, language is so important when it comes to money. I actually call mine my cash cushion because it means
Yeah.
it's a landing, it's a self
Knowledge.
landing or something I can bounce off. It's also kind of exciting to save for rather than an emergency. Emergency, who wants to like put money aside for people? What's going to happen? It's more negativity around money, but it's a cash cushion. So it has that sense of safety, softness. And it's not just for emergency. It could be an event is coming up for my business. I hadn't planned for it. It's quite a high ticket cost. I don't
Yeah.
have the cash for it necessarily. I'll use my cash cushion to do that. So it's not just for scary things that are happening. There's a lot of shoulds when it comes to money. We're talking about investing. Everyone will say, I know I should be investing, but all of that, I said there's too many shoulds and it causes us to procrastinate and creates confusion and guilt and shame because then we're not doing it. But I do have
Yeah.
one should, that is have your safety fund, your sanity fund, your emergency fund, your cash cushion, whatever language works for you to make it give you what you want from a nervous system perspective. That makes me feel safe. And
Okay.
then to answer your question, then how do you manage that? Having that emergency fund, let's say traditionally called rainy day fund, there's multiple
Yeah.
names for it. Having that and having a number that works for you, so that when I often use the phrase of we cannot control when life happens, but we can, to a certain extent, control how we feel it financially. So if you have an
Yeah.
emergency, worst case scenario, you have no income. First thing we go to is oh, I've no money. How am I going to live? Oh, no, wait, it's okay. It's okay. I have money there. I have an amount of money that makes me feel safe. Whew. Right, let me make decisions. And you're coming and making those decisions from a very different space. You're not coming from financial fear and panic. You're like, right, okay, I'm good for a period of time. Let me step into solving this problem. I've lost my job, or I need some repair on my car. That's a substantial amount of money. It's okay, actually. It's fine. We come at it from a totally different energy. And then what it also does is, because I work with a lot of women and men, but largely women in this situation where they have a big chunk of cash. Now, big is relative, 5,000 might be nothing for one person, but a massive amount of money for someone else, right? So it's relative. But
Mhm. Yeah.
in their experience, they have a substantial amount of money that's sitting there doing nothing, but they're terrified to do anything with it. We need to give it a purpose. It has to have a purpose. Purpose number one, your cash cushion, sanity fund, run-off fund, whatever you want to call it. We carve that out. Just make it fun and light. We carve that out and we put that aside. And all the energy around that is for if anything happens that's a
Mhm.
surprise, or a fun opportunity comes up, or something that's good for me that I don't have the cash for, I can use it. That's ring fenced and always accessible. Everything else then needs to be put to work. And that's where we look at, what are your plans for the next 2 years? Do you plan to buy a house, for example? Is a common one. deposit. You know how much you need. Certainty. That I don't recommend investing. That I would recommend putting into an interest-bearing bank account because you need certainty around it. It's still
Yeah.
at work, paying interest, so it is still working, but you've got certainty. Between 2 and 5 years, we can have a conversation whether it's needed to be put in a bank with certainty or you can still invest it. Anything above 5 years, you put it to long-term investing. And what that does is that works all and clarity. Again, it's clarity. This is the amount I have for my security.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is, I don't want to put it all in investment. And what if something happens? Then I've no money. Well, you do. You have your emergency fund. I need it in 2 years. Okay, you've got it there. It's put to work. It's doing its thing. You can forget about it and just build towards it. And then when you're going longer term, it's really important for that purpose too. Generally, that tends to be retirement. People talk about retirement. But again, retirement's for most people. And more people are telling me, I don't plan to ever retire. Like, I love my job or I want to work.
Yeah, true.
And I don't know where I'm going to be. I'd probably be old, ill. It's not motivating. It's something we should be doing, but you're like, oh, and it's so like, even if it's 5 years away, you're like, oh, well, I said, no, okay, let's scrap that. Let's plan for financial freedom. At what point in life would you like to be able to work only because you want to and put your money and invest it towards that? And again, it's with the energy and the motivation behind it. Again, you feel like, actually, this is something that's exciting to me. It's the same thing when you think about it. Like, I'm not working anymore. Or
True.
but it's much more motivating. And you're more likely then to go, right, well, that money's for now. That money's for short term. Okay, I'm excited for financial freedom. What can we do? So your whole leaning into it is totally different to, oh, I should do this and I don't understand it. It's really boring and I don't want to do it anyway. And it's taking away my ability. Totally different, but you're effectively doing the same thing. So the point is that it needs clarity. What do you have and what are your goals? Are you emotionally motivated to those goals? That it's not just something that someone said you should do. Is it something that your money's going to bring you happiness? Is it something that's going to bring you happy? Financial freedom, for example. And then making sure when you are investing, it has that purpose. Because most people will say to me, I'm investing because I should. Because my money needs to be put to work. Yes, but that's not exciting. But for what are you going to do with the money? And then it changes it all and becomes more exciting to kind of be brave and step into it. And then I say every single time I teach people how to invest, again, it's like the clarity piece. It's always like, well, one, is that it? Is it that easy? And two is, I wish I'd done it sooner. And then another thing, actually, I wanted to on something you said as well. Well, I can't remember exactly what language you used, but it reminded me of when you're investing. Yeah, what is a good way to do it for you? I think is I've one rule of thumb when it comes to investing is that if you've put your money into whatever that might be, property, the stock market, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, you've decided is right for you. When you go to bed at night, and if that investment comes into your mind as you're about to go to sleep, my rule of thumb is you go, or are you like, oh, okay, I'm good with that, and I can go to sleep. If it's not the latter, then it's not worth it. It should be de-stressing you, adding to your life, giving you a sense of accomplishment. And if it's not doing that, for me, I don't care how much return I might get, how much money I might be likely to earn. It's not worth it because it's causing me stress. And how you do that is completely understand what you're investing in and you choose, not go with what someone else told you to do. You know exactly what you're buying into, the risk, the projections, all of that. And then you can go, okay, that's done. I can move on with my life.
That's so interesting. I love it. I've been actually testing all my decisions recently, the same way you've just explained. If I go to bed and it's stressing me out, I just like, no, it's definitely not worth it. Doesn't matter how much I will earn at the end, it will cause me just, some health issues and then that will be even more expensive.
Yes, exactly. And from every angle, from like end up with stress related illnesses, lack of sleep, it's not worth it. It's a great kind of tester, isn't it? Do I really want to do this?
It is. Do you advise anyone who is willing to get more freedom or improve their financial situation towards the end of the year to do kind of checklist, or are there any, guidelines that you normally advise to your clients to follow to reach the desired outcome by the end of the year?
You make a plan. You have to have a plan and make that plan based on reality. One of the pitfalls I see people do is, and they'll come to me and say, Carol, I have a budget. I make a budget. It feels very realistic. It feels very fair. But one, I never seem to, and ultimately the kind of evidence of it working is how much I'm saving off like my salary or my income every month.
Yeah.
I never seem to be able to save what the budget tells me I should be able to save. And I can't figure out why. So I would say, look, we're at the start of the year. First thing to do is get clarity. Look back, ideally over at least 6 months of your spending, put it in a format where you can see by category, get the reality. Because we've so much subconscious spending. We've so much money leaving our accounts that we're not even thinking about, through like subscriptions and whatever it might be, gym memberships, things. Not that they're bad, but we just don't register them when we do our budget. We think, oh, I forgot that. I forgot that. And how things add up. I mean, I couldn't count the amount of times people have said, oh, I didn't realize that habit that I have. I thought it would be, it's only every now and again, but actually when I see how it's adding up, it's more frequent than I realized, and it's adding up to more than I thought it would. Awareness. When you do that and you know exactly what's happening with your money, you're not estimates. We can have blind sides. We all do. Then you plan your next 12 months, month by month, what my income is going to be, what my needs are, what is my rent, what is my electricity bills, what are my mobile phone bills, what are my medical bills, what are my car costs. And then ideally, no more than 50% of your income planned to be spent on those areas, your needs. Ideally, up to 30% on the wants or the fun stuff. So that's when you plan every month and say, right, I'm going to spend X amount on shopping, X amount on taxis, takeaway food, nights out, travel, my pet, health and fitness, whatever's relevant to you and how you live your life. And then ideally, that leaves at least 20% of your income for what I call your future self. So the reason why that works is, one, you've got full clarity. You're not guessing, because we kind of put on rose glasses when we start doing budgets based on what we think we're doing. There's no denying it here. Full clarity. Okay, now I know the truth. This is what I'm going to do for the next 12 months. And you're taking control of your money in that sense. You're telling it what to do. It's not telling you what to do. You're not reacting and you're not hoping for the best. It helps you in those moments of decision as well to say, oh, I'm shopping, I'm out in the mall and I see this really nice thing. Will I buy it? One, having a purpose, your goal set for the end of the year is really important, because if you don't have a purpose for it, you probably will just spend money because there's no reason not to. Yeah. And then also you can go, well, you know what? I've planned out, I've mapped everything out in line with what I want to do with my life, not what someone else is telling me. Will this derail it? No. Okay, good. I have budget for it. Will it derail it? Yes. And it's a bit like that moment of, when I go to bed at night, will I be sorry I did this? Oh, when I save, and I look at my accounts at the end of the month and I realize, will I still be happy I made this purchase? Yes or no? And the beauty of that as well is then you make that purchase without the kind of niggling, oh, this is too much, I shouldn't do this, the guilt, oh no, I deserve it, I work hard. You can actually just buy it and go, I love this, I'm buying it for me, whatever. Or you put it down and go, no, I'm fine. And you're not like, they can't buy it, why can't I have nice things? No, because I have a bigger picture thing I'm working toward, and it's mapped out on my terms. You do that on a monthly basis, then reviewing it, and keep it fluid. So you can go, right, every month, sit down, look at what you've spent. Is it in line with your plan? If not, why not? And it's a learning exercise, not a judgment, not, look, I'm useless with money. See, I can't do it. Is that okay? Did I underestimate my budget? Did something come up that I didn't expect? Or am I able to do better? And then also every month you'll have new information. So you can say, well, it's very hard to plan out for a year. We can just do our best that we know. And then something has come up. Oh, actually, I looked at the flights. They're more expensive. I need to adjust. And you're constantly keeping in control of it. You're adjusting it. When I do that with clients, and when people do that, they reach their goals. They're much more likely to reach your goals, like by a significant amount, than if you just, in my head, this is what I'm going. But you have to hold yourself accountable by keeping that process every month. And the key as well is, what is the purpose? Why are you doing it? at the end of the year, if you've saved X amount of money, what is it for other than just money I've saved? Because if you're restricting yourself just to save money, well,
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
it's not going to last.
No, what's the purpose? So really, the idea is to have this big picture towards your why. Why are you saving? Why are you doing all this job? And I definitely love what you mentioned that it's a learning exercise rather than judgment. I think this is where a lot of people get trapped when they start looking at their, monthly bank statements. They just don't want to face the reality. Well, I can
Yep.
say for myself as well, like, why should I spend it on, was was that even necessary? I think when you just look into
Yeah.
this from this perspective, it's definitely not helpful. But if you look into this, having a bit different narrative, like saying, okay, I spent it, but probably next time I will avoid doing that. And you start questioning yourself and, but it just has this purpose of learning, not judgment. And I think if we change this conversation with ourselves, that probably could help us make our life much more easier.
It's so powerful and actually makes your life even better. And you learn a lot about yourself. Like to your
Yeah.
example, you can say, you look at it and you go, why did I do that? Yes. And we straight away go to judgment. See, I'm terrible with money. I'm so ridiculous. I regret. But what I do is say, no, let's leave that and look at it. Why did I do that? It was because in that moment I was really stressed. So I just wanted to feel good and I bought myself something nice, for
Mhm.
example. Or because I was in a situation where I was surrounded by people who were happy to pay for a really expensive meal. And I didn't want to be the one who said, sorry, I can't do this. So I just went along with it. Okay, fine. Now what? How will you prevent that in the future? How will you manage this going forward? Because judging the occurrence doesn't make the habit stop. It'll happen again. And it's digging into it and going, in that moment, this is why I did that. And again, you're learning about your money mindset. You're learning about your lifestyle. You're learning about your habits. You're also learning about things that might derail your plan. Okay.
Mhm.
And the next time I'm either going to have a conversation with my friends in advance and say, I'm not going to that random example of expensive restaurants anymore because I have a bigger plan for my money.
Yeah.
Either I won't go or I'm just going to tell you guys now that this is what I will do when we're there, or just shift how you
Yeah.
socialize. So it's giving you that action plan as well, rather than just sitting in judgment and defeatism and
Sure.
kind of we move into, oh, what is that telling me about me, my habits, my money mindset, how I live my life? How can I make a change to improve? So that's why people say when you do that analysis of your finances, it's your life in numbers. So it's not just
Mm.
about money and investing and making money. It's
Yeah.
actually telling you a lot about how you live your life. So it's a great opportunity to look and make changes that benefit your bank balance, but also benefit your life. And actually, sometimes it can do the opposite, which is a good thing. Just like, oh, well, I'm not investing enough in my health. I'm not investing enough in my education. And I can see that now. So what I'm going to do is for a period of time, I'm going to save 10% of my salary and put the other 10% towards a master's degree that in the longer term, I'm investing in myself. So it's still for your future self beneficial. So I would say as well on that note is that it's not all about restriction. It is about
Mhm.
using your money in line with your values to live the life that you want with that bigger picture plan. Mm.
Yeah, for sure. This is where I hear a lot that money is not the destination, the means of getting to where you want to be. And you need to visualize the lifestyle you would like this money bring you. And this is where you should focus all your energy. And I definitely love what you say, how we should react to any situations related to money. Instead of having a pet, you
Mm.
just say, okay, let's take a look. Let's, take a moment. Let's analyze this. And I think it's really important to have this approach instead of, getting stressed straight away, to
Yeah.
give time to yourself, really to
And
process everything.
yeah, it's self-compassion exercise to go, well, I'm learning. There's a
Yeah,
lot of long-standing habits here, and we all know habits don't just go away overnight. This is
sure.
bringing awareness. And rather than judging them and saying it's not possible for me to change, like you said, it's looking at it and going, okay, right, what can I do here?
Yeah.
It is how it is. I now know. It's like that. I often use that Maya Angelou quote: "When you know better, you do better." Now I
True.
know. What can I do better? One small step to do better, and then it snowballs.
So we have spoken about habits, right? To have this plan at the start of the year that could help us get where we want at the end. Do you have any other habits, probably from your personal life, that you would like to share that could bring this financial freedom to get more education and how to be financially independent? Anything that you would love to share from your personal experience?
Oh, good question. So anything outside the kind of direct financial way of managing your money. Do you know what actually I found really powerful, especially as an entrepreneur? It took me a while, and I need to start setting an alarm or something to do it every night because I'm not 100% consistent, which is one of these things we know it's good for us, is marking progress is really important. You know, every day writing down, I have this exercise where every day, among other things, I write down 3 things that I did today, 3 achievements that I did today, because we can be so busy in our lives
Oh,
and
yeah.
we look back and think, what did I actually do, even though I was super busy? And it's amazing when you write that down. It kind of helps me feel like, oh, I am making progress. I didn't just waste the day in busyness. Things are happening. And I do that as well, 'cause it's where I have why I created my financial gratitude journal is largely based around that, where you sit down and you say, what are 3 things I'm grateful for today from a finance perspective, from a money perspective? And with that, and it can be even, I didn't spend money. It's like, it doesn't have to be, because we focus on, well, I won this big client or I got a promotion or,
Yeah.
I got paid. It can actually be, well, you know what? I had fun today and it didn't cost me anything. Or my friend gifted me something. My friend arrived over, or my friend bought me a coffee. I benefited from financial abundance in that sense. So looking at ways, or I saved an amount of money, or I did my budget today, or I observed something in my mindset today that's going to shift, and help me. So acknowledging things along the way to do that. The other thing to do as well is, especially when it's longer term financial plans, is have milestones and celebrate those milestones, which we don't do. So let's say you're
Yeah.
working towards financial freedom and that's a 10-year plan. If you get to, like, you have an ultimate goal and you're like 20% there, then do something to celebrate that. And that might be take a day off and go sit on the beach. It might feel luxurious. It might be, look, I haven't had a really nice meal out for a long time. I'm going to go out and I'm going to dedicate money to enjoy a really lovely, luxurious meal with my friend or whatever, to celebrate the achievement along the way. And that's in any part of your life, be it a business achievement or, in this case, your goal towards your financial freedom. I think acknowledging ourselves, acknowledging our achievements, acknowledging our progress in everything that we do, regardless of whether it's money,
Sure.
being healthier, losing weight, getting more sleep, building your business, whatever it might be. It's really important.
I love it. I love the idea of having this gratitude journal dedicated to money. I've heard about
Mm.
different aspects of your life, but when you think about, money in terms of gratitude rather than the topic that stress you out every single day, probably this is where, and this is how the energy shifts, right?
Well, hugely. Yeah, and that's why I created it, is to facilitate that, because we tend to be so focused on what we don't have or what we've done wrong. We don't
Yeah.
focus on what you have and what we've done right and what money is bringing to our lives. And it's same as like with the affirmation cards that I have, those financial abundance affirmation cards. They're all positive statements around money too, that when we feel more positive about it and when we acknowledge what we already have, our stress levels go down and we're more motivated to do more to
Yeah.
achieve our goals. And also I've seen it energetically. It's like, everyone has their own belief system, but I've seen, like, for me, it's like the universe sends more. It's like more gratitude. And we're told that in other aspects of life, the more gratitude you have for something and
Mhm.
acknowledge the good in your life, more of that will come. You attract more. No different with money. I've seen people where, like, these stories that I sometimes wonder, like, you couldn't make it up. I'm almost afraid to tell them, because in case people think I do make them up. But I have real life humans who will send me clients who are like, oh my goodness, Carol, like, this debt that I wrote off like years ago because I chased the person, they didn't pay me, I gave up.
Mhm.
suddenly out of nowhere, they're contacting them saying, "Oh, I have that money for you. Can I send it
Mm.
to you?" Two examples of that exact thing happened to my clients, where like that money written off in the past from friends, or one was a friend and one was a business situation. And out of nowhere, they get contacted, said, "I'm going to send you the money," which
Wow.
I put that down to their energy around money, their shifting around it, their openness to receive, and also that kind of
Yeah.
surrender to it can happen. So yeah, amazing things happen when we lean into that gratitude side of it.
Lovely. We need to be open to receive. I really love this. Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
women, it's a one. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
we're very good at
Yeah.
giving it. I work with clients where they're like, "I'm the person my friends come to for the loan. I'm the person," like, and happily, they're not resentful. They're like, "I'm happy to support. That's what money's for."
Mhm.
They give a lot. And when I ask, I'm like, "Do you ever ask for help?" No. I do feel when people give you gifts, "Oh, I'm so," and they're like, "Oh, I'm so uncomfortable. I don't like it." I'm like, yeah, we're very, very good at giving. We're not so good at
Yeah.
receiving. And that's huge. You have to
True.
be willing to receive because it's a flow, give and take, give and take. Yeah.